doing? Those that are joining me. So we are finally here. We are finally here.
Sing praise to the Lord, hallelujah. Sing praise to the Lord, hallelujah.
So this is going to be the final.
Sing praise to the Lord, hallelujah.
The final deep dive.
Sing to my Lord. Sing praise to the Lord, hallelujah.
What up, Stephen?
Sing praise to the Lord, hallelujah. Sing praise to the Lord, hallelujah. Sing to my Lord.
Yeah, so I hope everybody's had a great week. Welcome to Beats and B-Sides Deep Dive Celestial Clockwork. Today we dive into I Wish You Would Make Me. Turn that down a little bit. So today we dive into I Wish You Would Make Me. And this will be the last deep dive in this series. So thanks everybody for rocking with me. Thanks everybody for checking it out. Let me know in the comments if this is something that y'all enjoy me doing. I may start to break down other records of mine, as well as, like I mentioned before, breaking down records of other people, doing songs and breaking them down as far as what I think and me deciphering them. But yeah, this has been a fun journey, diving into this record and, really kind of revisiting, a lot of my thoughts and a lot of my feelings and honestly seeing where I've come from and, giving you guys some insight as to what I was thinking, and the reason why certain songs were written. But yeah, man, I Wish You Would Make Me. This is probably the most important song on this record, in my opinion. Just for me, as far as where I was in my journey, in my life. It's kind of like the second step after Hating a Puddle. It's kind of almost a continuation in a way. Kind of me, still dealing with the self-doubt, self-hatred, but getting to a point where, okay, now I know, as far as, my Christian beliefs and my Christian makeup, I know where my help is supposed to come from, but, walking that path was a little difficult and still is, sometimes. A lot of this song is still relevant. Some of the thoughts of this song is still relevant to my life today. And, anybody that has tried to follow any type of philosophy, any type of religion, you fall short. You know what I'm saying? We're human. We're not perfect. We make mistakes. We have good intentions, but we don't always reach, those goals that we have set for ourselves. And it's okay. It's okay. As long as you don't stay there, as long as you don't stay in the place where, you're feeling inadequate, it's okay. You know what I'm saying? We all slip up. Yeah, straight up, Stephen. Yeah, we all slip up. You know what I mean? So, but it's okay. And at the time that I wrote this song, as we've gone through the album, I was dealing with a lot, and I felt like I wasn't completely, I was kind of a fair weather Christian. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was one of those Christians that only kind of called on God when I needed him, um, not really building a relationship. And um, I've gotten better, but I'm still not where I need to be, as far as what I consider, where I should be, where I think I should be. But again, I'm still growing. Hopefully, I got a lot of life ahead of me, so I do have time to continue to grow and get better, and I strive to get better every day in everything that I do. And my relationship with God is no different. My relationship with my family is no different. Being an artist is no different. I strive to be better every day. I strive to get better every day. So, this is one of those songs where it's almost a prayer. This song was like my prayer at the time, because I felt like, I needed help. I knew where to get the help. But in order to get the help, there are, now we all live by grace, but there are certain things, that kind of fall in your lap. There's only certain times, certain amounts of times, and I don't think that God is keeping score like that. But I believe, just like with anything, you have to give something to get something. Now, there is a such thing as grace. There is a such thing as getting some help where you need the help, even though you don't necessarily deserve the help all the time. I mean, we deal with that with our children. Our children a lot of times are completely and utterly, unappreciative of the things that we do for them. But as a parent, you still provide those things. You still provide food. You still provide lights. You still even provide that cell phone, even though they don't necessarily need it, but it's something, you feel like is necessary, and that's just today. You know what I mean? That's just something in today's times.
Maybe we can start being father son. Can we name my father?
Yeah, Stephen, I have had conversations with other people about other religions and their beliefs. And when I was in college, I studied a lot of different things, actually, because I was going through this, and I didn't really. I was kind of, my foundation was Christianity, but I didn't necessarily trust in the fact that that was the only way. And there's a line in the song that we'll talk about, talking about being agnostic. For a long time, I believed I was an agnostic person. I believed I kind of disassociated myself from Christianity. I had an idea of that place, but realizing that there's so many other types of religions and there's so many other types of belief systems, I wanted to study some of those. So, I took a short dive into Buddhism, took a small dive into Islam, even read the Satanic Bible, read the Quran, and really just tried to understand a little bit more about just the base of religion and kind of why human beings need it, why religion is there for us. And I'm of the belief that God is God, and how you get to God is there's like, this is one of them hard subjects to broach. You know what I'm saying? This is one of those hard subjects to broach, because everyone has their own, belief system, and I'm just giving you mine. I'm not trying to, infringe anything on anybody, but if this does help somebody, then, I'm doing what it was meant to do. But, as a Christian, you believe that, belief in Jesus and belief in God, that's the way. And there's certain things that have, clouded that belief system in my life. As of now, I'm where I am. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, it's a difficult thing to talk about, and it's a difficult thing to really realize within yourself. And Christianity is not gonna be for everybody. Just like Islam is not for everybody, Buddhism is not for everybody, Hinduism is not for everybody, so on and so forth. But we all have choices to make, and we all have our own journey and path to take. Didn't mean to rhyme there, but kind of worked. So, I'm just going to dive into this song and kind of give you my background on, why certain lines are in there, and why I approached it in the way that I did. And again, I'm going to try to get out of here in less than an hour. You know what I'm saying? I try not to be in front of you guys that long. And, so you can enjoy the rest of your Monday evening. There is a really good football game on right now. I'm sure some people are watching. So, yeah. So let's dive into these lyrics. And, yeah. And again, this is the last deep dive for Celestial Clockwork. Side note, there are 2 other songs, Say the Word, which was the bonus song on the vinyl, and the song Verbiage, which was the hidden track on the album. And I will be doing deep dives of those as well, but those are going to be, I'm just going to post those onto my YouTube page as bonus, content. So if you want to check those out, I will be posting those in the next couple weeks. After this deep dive, I am going to take the rest of the year off and get prepped for next year. Next year, we're going to start, heavy with the interviews, doing some different types of shows and things like that. So sorry to get sidetracked a little bit, but let's dive into these lyrics. So Hate in the Puddle, one of, I think one of the most important songs that I've written in my career. So verse 1. Carpe diem, the philosophy I've come to embrace. On a trek to find myself with God, pleading my case. I no longer want to straddle the fence of the agnostic. Due to my success within my flesh, I've become a hostage. My light doesn't shine anymore. A dimmer switch has dulled the filament. I was the sun, now I'm just a star in the skies of ignorance. My heart's become hate trapped within this frozen puddle, now dispensing soul's reflection soaked in subtle hypocrisy. I've disgraced my own name, cause I'm living life logically, consistent with the secular realm, an illogistic dichotomy. I haven't lost faith, but I've misplaced my spirituality. Hope and ocean is created for relationship to float in reality, cause now I'm trapped in the storm's eye. These heavy rains I can't handle. Need to become a lighthouse instead of a flickering candle. I need to rededicate my life. I don't know if I'm ready. I know I have to make a choice, but I wish he would make me. And each hook kind of goes with each verse, and I'll go through that as well. I've strayed from the path predestined for me. I'm ill now, but walking right, I'd be an iller MC. I know I can overcome this rut because God put it in me, but I have to find it. Stop walking this earthly road blinded. Every word written's God-given, this is my theory. I'm in a place now that doesn't compare to where I could be. I know I can overcome this rut because God put it in me, but I have to find it. And stop walking this earthly road blinded. So that's the first verse and first hook. And so let's get into it. So Carpe Diem, seize the day, everybody knows that. And a lot of these lyrics are self-explanatory, but I'm just trying to give you a little insight as to my thought process in writing them down. So Carpe Diem, seize the day, philosophy I've come to embrace. On a trek to find myself with God, pleading my case. Now, the idea of I wish he would make me is basically, as a Christian, understanding that there is a right and wrong, you know what I'm saying? And it's like that in life, period. But there's a right way and a wrong way to live and to go about your daily lives, your daily, journey. And on a trek to find myself with God, pleading my case, I'm saying in here where, like, just make me do right. You know what I'm saying? Stop making me choose. You know, it's too hard to choose. You know, unfortunately, as human beings, we have choices to make every day, every minute of the day. And sometimes, you know, with anything, not just with this situation in particular, but just with anything, sometimes it's like, just give me the answer. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm tired of the multiple choice. I'm tired of, you know, the forks in the road, you know, and having to choose one or the other. Just give me the right answer. You know what I'm saying? So on a trek to find myself with God, pleading my case, I no longer want to straddle the fence of the agnostic. Now, at this time, like I said in the beginning, at this time, I was kind of
Oh, you're a joker, huh?
not sure
Tell me jokes?
about what I, you know, the foundation of what I was taught.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? I was not sure.
You got a record contract?
And, you know, agnostic just means that, you know, you don't necessarily believe
Watch
that,
the mouth.
you know, that there can be proof of an existence of God either way, you know. And so I was in that position where, you know, because I was doing all this studying of different religious practices and different philosophies, where I was, you know, like, I wasn't sure. I didn't know. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know if what I was taught and what I had been believing for most of my life was actually the right way. So I no longer want to, but at this point, I was making that decision. Like, I don't necessarily want to do that because, you know, and this may just be me, but there is comfort in knowing that, you know, there is a higher power available for you to talk to, available for you to depend on, available to, you know, kind of help you through situations. There's a comfort in that. And I didn't want to be in that purgatory anymore where, you know, I didn't know either way. So I no longer want to straddle the fence of the agnostic. Due to my success within my flesh, I've become a hostage. At this time, Celestial was the top of the mountain for my career at this time. You know what I mean? I had, you know, for an underground artist, I had gotten pretty successful. I got into a place where I was touring regularly, selling, you know, pretty good records. I was doing this full time. Even with the family to take care of and everything, I was doing music full time and being able to do that. And in that, even though it's on a way smaller scale than, you know, your major label artist, but in that, you know, in that success, I started to indulge in some things that I shouldn't have, and that were actually the result of me, you know, having some success. And it was kind of holding me captive. It was kind of, you know, I was feeling like in order to have this, I can't, you know, I have to do things a certain way. And doing those things in that way wasn't necessarily the right way all the time. I felt like there was expectations of me as a successful hip hop artist because I wasn't as confident in myself as I am now. I felt that there was expectations of me as a hip hop artist when I was out on tour, how I was supposed to act, you know, dealing with groupies, dealing with, you know, drinking and getting high and drugs and all of that stuff. I felt like there was something that I had to, you know, show the people to prove that I deserved this success that I was getting. And it sucked, you know what I'm saying? And I didn't want to have that situation anymore. I didn't want to be there anymore. So due to my success within my flesh, I've become a hostage. My light doesn't shine anymore. A dimmer switch has dulled the filament. I was the sun. Now I'm a star in the skies of ignorance. If you listen to, even though I was going through some of these things and it got, you know, way deeper during the time of this record, but if you listen to Unforeseen Shadows, I was a lot more upbeat. You know, the album is a little more upbeat. The album has happier songs, you know, not necessarily like, you know, Pharrell's happy, but, you know, just more upbeat, up-tempo, brighter. The concepts weren't as dark. And at that time, you know, even the song Illogistics, I felt like on the song Illogistics, I felt like I kind of planted a flag as far as my Christianity goes and where I stood as a Christian. And we'll get into that a little bit. And I felt like during this time, I felt bright at that time. And during this time, I felt like things were dulling. I felt like I was in the shade. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't shining anymore. I was just another star, as opposed to being the sun, as opposed to being this leader that I wanted to be and I had professed to be, because I was diving deeper into certain things that I shouldn't have, and dealing with life situations that caused me to be in a darker place emotionally. Therefore, that's kind of where I took my art as well. So I was the sun. Now I'm a star in the skies of ignorance. My heart's become hate, trapped within this frozen puddle, now dispensing soul's reflection soaked in subtle hypocrisy. I've disgraced my own name because I'm living life logically consistent with the secular realm and the logistic dichotomy. So in this section, I'm kind of saying that, basically I'm being a hypocrite because I planted this flag of, I'm a Christian. These are the things that I stand for. This is what, I am. I did that on the song Illogistics. That was a reference to that. And, I felt like because of this success, because of being out here in the touring world and taking part in certain things that I knew were not in line with my beliefs, I felt like a hypocrite. You know what I'm saying? Now dispensing soul's reflection soaked in subtle hypocrisy. I've disgraced my own name because I'm living life logically consistent with the secular realm and illogistic dichotomy. I haven't lost faith, so I still believed in the things that I believed, but I had questions. You know what I mean? I still had faith in those things, but I just had questions. You know what I mean? So I haven't lost faith, but I've misplaced my spirituality. Hope an ocean is created for relationship to float in reality. So I wanted my relationship with God that I felt like I had lost, because as a child I was really deep into the church and really felt like I had a really close relationship with God. I felt like my spirituality was extremely strong up through middle school, and high school is where things started to get a little more murky. So I hadn't lost the faith. I still had my belief system. I still had my foundation, but I just had a lot of questions. And I felt like my relationship, with my creator had disintegrated some. So hope an ocean is created for relationship to float in reality, because now I'm trapped in the storm's eye. I felt like everything around me was chaos, and the storm's eye is usually the most powerful part of the storm. And I felt like I was there just struggling with finding who I was, finding my purpose, fulfilling my purpose, the purpose that other people had for me. And I just felt lost and, chaotic. So now I'm trapped in the storm's eye, these heavy rains I can't handle. I need to become a lighthouse instead of a flickering candle. Need to rededicate my life. I don't know if I'm ready. I know I gotta make a choice, but I wish he would make me. Little did I realize how relevant that question of mine was to this song. Yeah, exactly. So, need to become a lighthouse instead of a flickering candle. I always felt like as an artist and as a person, I was always meant to be a leader of some sort. And I felt like I started out that way. And somewhere in there, it got lost, and I started to not necessarily be a follower, but be more of a recluse, just, not necessarily having much code as far as, spiritual things went and morality went in some ways. And I felt like I was no longer, that beacon of light, that I was just kind of a candle in the wind that could get blown out at any moment. And I wanted to change that. So, in this saying that I need to rededicate my life, but I don't know if I'm ready. This is a very human song. This is an extremely human song, because even if you're not dealing with religion, if you're not dealing with, spirituality, something this strong, everybody has those things that they don't feel like they're ready to do. They don't feel like they're ready to accomplish. Even if it's things that you want to do. As artists sometimes, if you've never put out an album and you're recording all these songs and it's like, I need to, I need to just make that move and drop these records, but I don't know if I'm ready. You know what I'm saying? And I know I got to make a choice to do this or not do this, and I just wish somebody would force my hand and just make me do this. That's what this whole concept is about. Is having to deal with choice. Like, choice is one of the most powerful things that we have in our arsenal, and if we use it correctly and we make educated choices, we won't always be correct, but we have a better chance of, going where we're supposed to go. Not necessarily always where we want to go, but going where we're supposed to go. So that's the first verse. And the hook portion, I've strayed from the path predestined for me. I'm ill now, but walking right, I be an iller MC. I know I can overcome this rut because God put it in me, but I have to find it and stop walking this earthly road blinded. I always felt like, and this goes into the second part, I'll read that too. Every word written is God-given. This is my theory. I'm in a place now that doesn't compare to where I could be. I know I can overcome this rut because God put it in me, but I have to find it and stop walking this earthly road blinded. I've always been of the belief that, and I've talked about this in previous songs, that I'm not always in control of the things that come out of my pen. I'm not always in complete control of the words that I write down all the time, because I feel like, I am here for a purpose as an MC and as a writer, and I feel like there is, a divine intervention sometimes in the things that I write. And I've talked about this before too, that sometimes, there's been times that I've written things that I had to go back and really read through to personally understand, because I felt almost possessed in a way, to get those things out of me. And, later down the line, maybe after I've written it, or, even after I've recorded it and the album is out, sometimes I catch certain things that enlighten me about how I was feeling. Because all the time I don't necessarily completely understand how I'm feeling and where I'm at. And this is why writing for me is my therapy. This is why, for a lot of artists, their art is their therapy, because, there's nothing else that will just listen and not give you an opinion back, will allow you to just spill your guts, and not judge you about it. And what I do usually is, when I go back, that's when I get the aha moments a lot of times. So that's where I was going with that. So that is the first verse. This one is gonna be a quick one. It's not gonna be too crazy, because these are actually short verses. But yeah, like, the importance of this song to me, it's kind of inexplicable. It's hard to explain how important this song was to me in my development at the time, because after writing this song, I kind of made the decision to, kind of dive deeper back into my Christianity, and not necessarily disassociate with the other religions and stuff like that, but study those to understand the world a little more, as opposed to trying to understand my own personal spirituality. Christianity is my choice. This is what I've chosen. This is what I've chosen to plant my flag and place my faith in, and so that's where I've gone. And this song was kind of, a kind of fork in the road for me, to tell me if I'm going this way or that way, and make that choice. Like, where are you going? What you doing? How are you going to raise your children? How are you going to, continue to function in this world? And what is going to be your belief system? You know what I'm saying? What is going to be your foundation? What is going to be your moral compass? What is going to be your moral standards of how you approach things? And this was the choice that I made. So, yeah, let's go to the next verse. Second verse. And this verse is very interesting, but we'll get into why it's interesting, especially the beginning of it. But verse 2, I wish you would make me.
Guinness Extra Stout is older than most beers out there. It's very distinctive as an Irish dry stout goes, because as you taste it, you get a very dry finish to it. There's a hint of caramel and...
So a commercial just started playing. Oh, man. That's pretty funny. Commercial just start playing out of nowhere. That's pretty hilarious. But all right, second verse. Due to my reflection, I lost love because God was an afterthought. Showed me the one prepared for me, she was snatched from my heart. I understand the mirror of pain gave a nice view, revealing what I had to do to be reshaped and made anew. This is hard because for a while I wouldn't look in God's direction. Pissed because I had this life of disappointment and rejection. But I've come to realize that when I fell in this rut, God was tearing me down so he could build me back up. See, I've been called to rock a crowd with an anointing like no other and be a prime example for my friends and my brothers. Now I need the strength to take the step from the shadow, giving my silhouette features as my teacher points the arrow. I was told sin's wide, righteousness is narrow. I must prepare for it to be just God and me to wade through the sea. I need to rededicate my life. I don't know if I'm ready. I know I got to make a choice, but I wish he would make me. I'm locked in this cage and only I have the key. I'm trying to pick the lock without surrendering completely. I know I can overcome this rut because God put it in me, but I have to find it. Stop walking this earthly road blinded. I'm tired of having my eyes covered. I'm trying to see the promised land over the mountain waiting for me. I know I can overcome this rut because God put it in me, but I have to find it. Stop walking this earthly road blinded. So there's an interesting thing about the beginning of this verse. So the beginning of the verse, I start out with, due to my reflection, I lost love because God was an afterthought. Showed me the one prepared for me, she was snatched from my heart. I was actually talking about my wife that I have right now. We used to date. We actually started dating. We met in church. Okay, so that's the foundation of this. We met in church. Her family, my family, we went to the same church. And hey, what up, Sunley? What up? So we actually met in church and we were dating, and we actually dated when we were young. Around 10, 12, we dated, and because we couldn't see each other because we were so young, we ended up breaking up. But she did tell her mom she was going to marry me when she was 12 or 10 or something like that, which is wild. But so even throughout, after we broke up and as we got older, she got deeper and deeper into the church. I was really into the church, but I was in high school when my music career was starting. And then once I went off to college, we always wanted to be together. But because I was kind of on the fringes of, my beliefs, and she was, deep and steadfast in hers, she wouldn't date me because of where I stood as far as my agnosticism at the time. And, and this is ironic, that I wrote a song because I dated a lot of people in between. But she was always the one that, kind of held my heart. And ironically, we've been married. We just celebrated 20 years of marriage in October. So it's interesting that, this song is so important, and it has that, kind of foreshadowing, because I lost the love, but, because of me changing who I was and becoming a better person and, actually making some choices, and not necessarily religious choices, but just making some choices to grow up, actually got to snag the love of my life. So, but due to my reflection, I lost love because God was an afterthought. Showed me the one prepared for me, she was snatched from my heart. I understand the mirror of pain gave a nice view, revealing what I had to do to be reshaped and made anew. In this time of reflection and thinking about why I couldn't have the love of my life, why I couldn't have a lot of things in my life, kind of gave me, I had a lot of the answers myself about what I needed to do in order to change the trajectory of where I was going in my life. And, that's, again, what this song is about, is kind of knowing the answers a little bit, but not necessarily wanting to choose the correct answer because it's not fun. You know what I'm saying? You feel like there's some pressure in going that direction, and it's a little easier to go this direction. And so to go the right way, you just wish somebody would push you and nudge you into that direction. So revealing what I had to do to be reshaped and made anew. This is hard because for a while I wouldn't look in God's direction. This is during that agnostic time and during the time of my depression, feeling like God had abandoned me. This is hard because for a while I wouldn't look in God's direction, pissed because I had this life of disappointment and rejection. But I've come to realize that when I fell in this rut, God was tearing me down so he could build me back up. See, this is kind of where the song takes a turn, and it's halfway through the second verse. But this is why this song was a turning point for me, because I started to realize that, that saying that God will never give you anything you can't handle. I started to realize that a lot of the things that I was going through at this time, and this is me coming out of a lot of that depression in writing this stuff. A lot of the things that I was going through at the time, I started to realize that without those things, I wouldn't be able to be the person that I was developing into. I started to see where my life was going and what the possibilities were if I made certain choices and certain changes. And I started to realize that, these disappointments and these hardships did nothing but make me stronger. These disappointments and hardships did nothing but turn me into, a stronger man, a stronger father, a stronger husband, a stronger friend, a stronger artist. And coming to that realization really helped me kind of turn the corner on a lot of things in my life. Now, I still get down here and there, but I don't consider myself depressed now. And I've talked about this before. I was never diagnosed with depression. And I was never, cleared of not having it anymore. But this is before, mental health was a big thing that was talked about, and before, it was in vogue, to have some disorders. And yeah, I knew I was depressed. You know what I'm saying? I knew how I felt about myself. But in order to get out of that, I felt like, with me getting out of that, I feel like this was a big stepping stone for that. So God was tearing me down so he can build me back up. And this is where I go into kind of seeing my future and seeing my potential and seeing the things that are laid out there for me if I make certain choices in my life and for, my future and for this journey that I'm continuing. So God was tearing me down so he could build me back up. See, I've been called to rock a crowd with an anointing like no other, and be a prime example for my friends and my brothers. Now I need the strength to take the step from the shadow, given my silhouette features as my teacher points the arrows. Now I'm talking about the things that I know are there for me. You know what I'm saying? I know that, nobody rocks a crowd like I do. I know that, I am the one that my brothers come to. I am the one that a lot of my friends come to bounce ideas off of, to talk about things when they're going through hardships. I've always been that way. Even going through my depression, even going through my hardships, I was always able to lend an ear and to lend a helping hand to any of my friends, any of my family that came to me. And I was always that guy that people came to. And it's interesting because my wife is that for her family and for a lot of her friends. And, it's always been told to us by our pastor, by our friends, that we should, go into counseling and, counsel couples and things like that. And it's maybe something that we may do down the road because we have a very interesting story. But so I've always, known these things, but the line saying, now I need the strength to take the step from the shadow. I'm still, kind of reluctant to make that move because I know what it takes to be in that position. I know the pressure that is going to be on my shoulders if I choose to do the things that I know I'm supposed to be doing. I understand that there's going to be some pressure there. And am I ready for that? You know what I'm saying? Am I scared? You know, am I going to let fear keep me from my purpose? A lot of us, we know we're supposed to be doing certain things, but we allow fear to keep us from our purpose. We allow doubt to creep in and keep us from doing the things that we're supposed to be doing. And then we end up unhappy because of it. And no one else is to blame. There's nobody else that you can look to say, oh, you held me back. You know what I'm saying? In a lot of instances, it's our choices that hold us back. It's our choices to make that step and be uncomfortable. You don't grow without being uncomfortable. When you break a bone and it grows back, it hurts when it grows back. That growth is uncomfortable. That growth is going to be, there's going to be some pain in the growth, but you have to look beyond the pain and really see what the purpose of it is. So, now I need the strength to take the step from this shadow, given my silhouette features as my teacher points the arrow. I was told sin's wide, righteousness is narrow. And this is the thing that, this is why that decision is so hard, because doing things you're not supposed to be doing, it's easy. It's easy to go, that direction and do things that are outside of your moral compass. Now, something inside of you usually, kind of taps you on the shoulder, but staying on that straight and narrow is difficult. You know what I'm saying? It's a small path of doing things the right way. And it's a very vast opening of doing things the wrong way. There's millions and millions and millions of people that are content with doing things the wrong way. But those that choose to be disciplined, those that choose to actually shoot for the stars and shoot for their purpose and actually, go for their purpose, actually try to be on this journey with a reason, with a destination in mind. It's not a lot of us. You know what I'm saying? It's not a lot of people that have that in them and that actually listen to it. So I was told sin's wide, righteousness is narrow. I must prepare for it to be just God and me to wade through the sea. One of the things that I've learned, because I was doing so much, crazy stuff, that once I made this choice, I was going to lose a lot of friends. You know what I'm saying? I was going to not necessarily have as many people around me, because I made choices to do certain things. Like this is, something that, people who are alcoholics deal with. One of the things that, that Blueprint has talked about since he's gotten sober is how, once he did get sober, the people that he hung out with, they were still drinking. So you had to change your friends. You know what I'm saying? He spent a lot of time at home. You know what I'm saying? He spent a lot of time by himself because most of his friends were into certain things that he was no longer into. So he had to change his circle. He had to get to a point where he was okay with being by himself, being alone, that he was comfortable enough with himself to be okay. And, when you make certain choices in life, you're going to lose people. People aren't going to be able to come on that trip with you because they're not ready. So I was told sin's wide, righteousness is narrow, must prepare for it to be just God and me to wade through the sea. Need to rededicate my life, don't know if I'm ready. I know I got to make a choice, but I wish he would make me. And even after all of that, you know what I'm saying? Even after all of that and like kind of understanding my purpose and, making, seeing that route, you know what I'm saying? Knowing which way I want to go. I still don't know if I'm ready. I still wish I could be pushed. I still wish that God would just nudge me in that direction so I don't necessarily have to make the choice. I'm just like kind of put in this place, but I still got to make a choice. So the hook part for this, I'm locked in this cage and only I have the key. I'm trying to pick the lock without surrendering completely. The place where I was, it was up to me to get myself out of it. I was given all the tools. But it was up to me to make the choice to get myself out of it or stay in it. Whenever you're dealing with any kind of situation, it's up to you if you're going to stay mad, if you're going to stay angry, if you're going to stay depressed, if you're going to stay hurt. It's up to you. Like, you lock yourself in that cage and you have the key to get out, which is the choice to get out. I'm trying to pick the lock without surrendering completely. That's just saying you can't have one foot in and one foot out. If you're going to make the choice, then make the choice. If you're not going to make the choice, then don't make the choice. But if you half-ass it, then it's going to show. If you half-ass anything in life, it's going to show. But if you completely dedicate yourself and surrender completely to the process, then that'll show as well. I'm tired of having my eyes covered. I'm trying to see the promised land over the mountain waiting for me. I know I can overcome this rut because God put it in me, but I have to find it. Stop walking this earthly road blinded. Like I said in the verse, like I knew, and more than what I said in here, but I knew that there was a bright future for me if I just made the choice to go after it. And for anybody listening to this, you know, if you have something in your life that you know that you want to go after, that you should be going after, but you know, it's hard for you to make the choice to do that because you know all the work that it takes to get there. Just stop having your eyes covered. You know what I'm saying? You see the promised land, you know, and this is a reference to Moses, you know, taking the children of Egypt from the children of Israel, from Egypt into the wilderness and, you know, getting them to the promised land. And because he broke God's commandments, he couldn't enter the promised land, but they could. He could only watch from afar because he disobeyed God. And I'm tired of having my eyes covered. I'm tired of just looking over there. Like, I want to get into it. You know what I'm saying? I want to walk into my purpose. And that's for anybody. If you really want to walk into your purpose, then you got to make the choice. It's that simple. You choose to be successful, and then you put the work in to fulfill that choice. But you make the choice to be successful. You make the choice to be healed of certain things. Not necessarily medical things, of course. You know what I'm saying? But you make the choice to get better. And when you make that choice, then you put the work in behind it, and you put the dedication in behind it. And most likely you will succeed. You know what I mean? So that is it, man. This has been an amazing, you know, thing doing these deep dives for this album. So yeah, this is the last one. And like I said, Say the Word and Verbiage, I will do those, you know, separately, and they'll be kind of bonus material that I still will post on my YouTube page, but I won't stream them live. And yeah, man. Everybody have a happy New Year, Merry Christmas. If you celebrate Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, all of that. I'm going to take the next 2 weeks off and have some family time. Also just started a new job, so I'm like getting my feet wet with that. So I'm going to take a couple weeks off from streaming. But we're going to come back in the new year with first interview of the year. First stream of the year is going to be a 5-spot interview with Alaska. And I'm going to be hitting y'all with interviews, going to be hitting y'all with performances, new music coming, instrumental albums, vocal albums, all kind of things. You know what I'm saying? I want to do a poetry album. I want to do so many things. So, you know, next year is going to be a pretty heavy year, and I'm going to try my best to continue to give you guys great content and great music and great art. And, yeah, everybody have a happy holiday season, and I appreciate all of the love and support. And I will see you guys next year. All right? Peace. Have a good night.